beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
Hello and welcome to A Beautiful Legacy. I'm your host, Tiago Pinto. In February, we explored how movement became everyday life. From racing circuits to motorway service stations, we looked at how designers humanized speed, structured tension, and introduced rhythm into travel. Now, in March, we will slow down. We step off the motorway, we enter the aisle, because if the service station organized the pause between destinations, the supermarket organizes something even more fundamental: how we eat, how we choose, and how we construct our daily life. This month is about food retail, about the individuals who transformed grocery shopping from transaction into experience. And there is no better place to begin than with a man who turned a modest chain of convenience stores into one of the most distinctive grocery concepts in the world. This is the legacy of Joe Coulombe and the moment the supermarket became story. In the late 1950s, Coloumbe was running a small chain of convenience stores in California called Pronto Markets. The model was simple: proximity, speed, low assortment. But then came the threat. 7-Eleven began expanding aggressively. Competing on convenience alone would be a race to the bottom. Coloumbe understood something essential: scale players win on logistics. Smaller players must win on meaning. So instead of fighting the giants on price and proximity, he reframed the battlefield. He studied his customer, not average America, but the emerging, college-educated, well-traveled, curious middle class of Southern California. People who read labels, people who traveled, people who wanted discovery. In 1967, he opened the first Trader Joe's in Pasadena. Not a bigger store, not a cheaper store, simply a different store. The breakthrough was not operational. It was all about narrative.
Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
Traditional supermarkets pride themselves on abundance, endless shelves, multiple brands for the same SKU, choice as volume. Coloumbe inverted that logic. Trader Joe's deliberately limited assortment. Instead of 20 brands of ketchup, there would be one, often private label. Instead of overwhelming customers, the store guided them. The model resembled publishing more than retail. An editor selects, an editor curates, an editor builds trust. Coloumbe believed that reducing choice did not reduce freedom. It reduced anxiety. In doing so, he anticipated what behavioral economics would later formalize. Too much choice paralyzes. But curation alone was not enough. He needed a voice. In most supermarkets, private label is margin strategy. It is a cheaper imitation. At Trader Joe's, private label became the identity. Nearly everything carried the store's own branding. But instead of generic packaging, products had personality, humor, cultural references, hand-drawn typography, exotic origin stories. The brand did not feel corporate, it felt conversational. This was radical. Coloumbe understood that if you control the label, you control the story. And if you control the story, you differentiate beyond price. Private label was no longer a cost-saving measure. It was a storytelling platform. The store could introduce Trader José's for Mexican-inspired products, Trader Giotto's for Italian lines. It played with global culture in a way that felt accessible rather than intimidating. In doing so, Trader Joe's turned grocery shopping into light entertainment, not luxury, not premium intimidation, but intelligent informality. Walk into a conventional supermarket and the environment is optimized for flow and volume. Fluorescent lighting, high racks, promotional noise. Coloumbe chose something else. Smaller footprints, nautical themes, chalkboard signs, staff in Hawaiian shirts. A tone of voice that felt human. It was theatrical but controlled. The store felt like a neighborhood discovery hub rather than a warehouse of goods. This was not accidental decoration, it was strategy. If large chains win on operational dominance, the challenger must win on emotional clarity. Coloumbe built coherence, product selection, packaging, tone of voice, staff behavior, everything aligned. He understood what many retailers still miss. Brand is not a logo. It is a behavior repeated consistently in space.
Beauty, beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
Perhaps the most significant breakthrough was psychological. Trader Joe's positioned itself as the anti-supermarket while still being one. It avoided heavy promotions, aggressive discount language. It did not overwhelm customers with signage screaming price wars. Instead, it built loyalty through trust. Customers believed that if a product was on the shelf, it deserved to be there. That invisible filter created credibility. In many ways, Coulombe introduced what we would now call brand as editor or brand as host. He removed friction not by automation but by intention. And most importantly, he did this decades before experiential retail became industry jargon.
Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
The world we inherited from Joe Coulombe. Today, limited assortment models are common. Private label is strategic. Curation is fashionable. Retailers speak of storytelling and brand voice. But in the 1960s and 70s, this was unconventional thinking. Coulombe proved that a supermarket does not have to be neutral. Private label can carry identity, not just margin. Less choice can create more satisfaction. Tone of voice is a competitive advantage. Retail can feel authored. His influence can be traced in European chains that build strong private label ecosystems, in food halls that curate instead of accumulate, in challenger grocers that prioritize personality over scale. He reframed the supermarket not as infrastructure but as a medium, and that shift matters because supermarkets are amongst the most visited spaces in modern life. They shape diet, culture, routine, and even social behavior. When you turn that space into a story rather than a warehouse, you change how people relate to food. Coulombe did not invent grocery retail, he humanized it. He recognized that educated consumers did not only want lower prices, they wanted discovery, trust, and coherence. He designed not just shelves, but perception.
beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve.
Joe
leaves a
Coulombe
trace of
did not expand the shelf. He did something far more difficult. He reduced it. In a space defined by excess, endless brands, endless variants, endless noise, he introduced selection. He treated assortment not as accumulation but as authorship. That decision changed more than one grocery chain. It changed how retailers understood power. Because when a supermarket chooses what not to sell, when it limits choice deliberately, it sends a signal. We have decided for you. We stand behind this selection. You can trust the edit. Coloumbe understood that retail is not neutral. It is narrative. Every product on a shelf is a sentence. Every category is a chapter. Every private label is a point of view. He showed that a supermarket could have a voice without shouting, that personality could replace promotion, that coherence could replace clutter. Not abundance, but authority. And once authority enters the aisle, the relationship between retailer and customer changes permanently, because the store is no longer a warehouse, it is an editor. And that, truly, is a beautiful legacy.
beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
You've been listening to A Beautiful Legacy. Throughout March, How the World Eats explores the designers and thinkers who shaped not just what we consume, but how we recognize, trust, and experience food in everyday life. From corporate packaging systems to culinary revolutions, from brand architecture to sensory identity, we will examine the invisible structures behind appetite. In the coming episodes, we will move from the shelf to the kitchen, from the identity systems to gastronomy itself. Follow the show and join me every Tuesday and Thursday. Until then, keep noticing the beauty people leave behind.
Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were. In the shape of a chair, in the light on a wall, someone's dream still stands tall. But